Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones loves to tell you how broke he is. I'm so broke. I need your help. I need your help to float the channel. The deep state, they're trying to shut it down. And I'm going to need your help. You're going to need to go over to the Infowars store, and you're going to have to buy a lot of prepper buckets because the Civil War is coming. That's what's going to happen here. And that's not an exaggeration. It's exactly what he's doing. And it turns out that because of that, he has done incredibly well for himself. So let me give you some numbers. So now, the Infowars store, from September 2015 to the end of 2018, apparently made a total of $165 million in sales. That is according to court filings related to a Sandy Hook lawsuit, one of the ones that Alex Jones had lost. So now the records were obtained by HuffPost. So anyway, from what you can see from the records, $165 million over 3 years, that's a lot of money. He's doing very, very well. But of course, if you watch Infowars, which I feel sorry for you, really. I mean, if you're watching it non-ironically, you might think that they are hanging on by a thread. Oh, we're so broke. In fact, here's what he said in just a recent segment on Thursday. Quote, "As much begging as I do, we can barely pay the bills. I'm not going to stop growth and let them push us backwards. I need your help, Frank. I need your help. Yeah, come on, Frank. What are you doing, Frank? Give me the money, Frank. Buy your stuff. Buy it, Frank. Buy it, Frank, before the deep state stops you from buying it. Before the frogs get so gay that they shoot rainbows at you and somehow make you gay. I don't know." Oh, here's what he also said during a 2018 broadcast. "The enemy wants to cut off our funding to destroy us. If you don't fund us, we'll be shut down." Shut down by who? Nobody shut down your broadcast. If somebody was gonna, excuse me, wow. If somebody's gonna shut down your broadcast, they would have done so already. Now, Alex Jones has been deplatformed, but he still has a show. He just hosts it on his website, which people can go to. Now, that has reduced some of his reach, of course, because the algorithms are no longer pointing people towards Alex Jones content, but it still exists, and he's still making money. And so, again, that same year, Infowars made more than $56 million in sales. Now, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now, look, I'm a lefty show, okay? You know how much I made off sales? Last year, I made $102 off shirts. And you know what? I was fucking thrilled. Like, yes! I made $100 of merch. Oh, it's great. From all the memberships combined, I get like $1,000. Again, that's Patreon, that's channel memberships, that's subs on YouTube and Twitch. I am thankful for every single one of them, by the way. But you got Alex Jones over here. They've been making $56 million in a year. Holy shit. The amount of money in right-wing media is just insane. Enormous. And understand, like, this is not like a boo-hoo, I'm poor, right? Look, if I didn't want to be poor, I wouldn't be lefty. Okay? I'd be a right-winger. I'd be doing anti-vax content right now if I wanted to be rich, okay? Because that's like super hot. No, I don't do that. I don't care about being rich. But again, the reason I point that out is that it's not a jealousy thing. Okay? The point that I'm trying to make is that this is not an even playing field between right and left content. Moneyed interests pour so many resources into right-wing media. They really, really do. And Algorithms, of course. One of the reasons that Alex Jones is so big is because the algorithms, back when he was on YouTube and Facebook, would constantly point people towards Alex Jones content. So that's what would happen. And of course, that was fantastic in growing a gigantic user base. Then of course, they go and they change, as a result of Alex Jones, they change algorithms to now favor CNN, MSNBC, and ironically, Fox News, which is one of the biggest purveyors of disinformation, in media, whether it be cable news or online. And so there's not as much money on the left as there is in right-wing media. And I'm saying that as realizing that, of course, yes, there are people on the left that do make decent amounts of money. Are they making $65 million in a year? No, I doubt it. I doubt very much that you have actual lefty channels that are making that much money off sales and off anything else. And again, the moneyed interests are interested in the right wing for certain reasons. Basically, propaganda. Propaganda, again, you have this propaganda that benefits industry. Deregulation. They give tax cuts to the rich. They destroy consumer protections. That's what they do. Now, they also, by the way, take the people who police corporations like Big Pharma off the street. Get rid of federal regulators. Or just buy lobbyists to buy them out. These right-wing interests have a lot of cash. And so that's where the money is. It's in media, right-wing media. And it's not because they're right. It's not because they have the facts. No, they're not out there fighting for the people. Dave Rubin is not fighting for the people. Dave Rubin was a progressive until he got Coke money. Progressive, right? He was always terrible on Israel, for example. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Tim Pool, by the way, figured it out pretty early. Go to the right. Just go right. And guess what? Tim Pool now has his own indoor skate park. But he has no credibility. And so Candace Owens also found out that it was much more lucrative to be a black conservative and to sell stuff that literally turns her fans blue. Colloidal silver. Jim Baker, for a long time, has been selling his Prepper food buckets. Alex Jones also sells dubious supplements and end times prep gear. In fact, some of the highest selling products on the Infowars store include something called Brain Force Ultra. Brain Force Ultra. You need to get the Brain Force Ultra because it's a brain force. Makes your brain very, very big. Alpha male brain. It means your brain can beat up your anybody else's brain. That's what happens. When your brain, and it also fights against the gay frogs and the deep state. You go into a spiritual battlefield. That's what happens. You get into the spiritual battlefield, and your brain will suplex the deep state. That's what happens. Buy Brain Force Ultra. Ridiculous, right? It contains green tea leaves and it costs $37. There's also Winter Sun Plus Vitamin D. And another supplement called Brain Force Plus. Not Brain Force Ultra, but Brain Force Plus. Not to be confused with Brain Force Ultra. And so, that's the kind of stuff that he's selling. And people are buying it. Lots of people are buying it. These ridiculous supplements, which, by the way, a lot of them are not FDA approved. I thought they cared about this stuff. I thought conservatives were like, oh, no, we're not going to take anything that's not approved. Because I care about what I put in my body. That's why I won't get a vaccine. Oh, Brain Force Ultra. Oh, yeah, put it in me. Oh, yeah. We'll take it. Delicious. I can feel my brain swelling already. That might not be a good thing. Just saying. Might not be a good thing. But now, here's the thing, right? The documents showed how lying about Sandy Hook, well, that actually helped him quite a bit. It shows that when he pushed the Sandy Hook lie, he made tons and tons of money. In fact, that was a gigantic driver of a lot of these sales. In fact, the months of September and October of 2015 had only seen about a handful of orders a day. But just 1 year later, the Infowars store was making an average of about $110,000 a day. And on some of Jones' most profitable days were the ones where he pushed the Sandy Hook's lies. Or Sandy Hook lies, sorry. Where he called Sandy Hook a hoax. And said, oh, yeah, those kids are they're not prophet, sorry, but they're crisis actors. That's what's going on here. Crisis actors. It's fake. Without any, of course, sort of evidence, which ended up hurting people. But there's more. For instance, on November 18th, 2016, Jones aired a segment titled, Alex Jones' Final Statement on Sandy Hook. Now, you're not going to be surprised that that is not his final statement. In which he said, he's watched a lot of soap operas, and I've seen actors before, and I know when I'm watching a movie and when I'm watching something real. On that day, the Infowars store made over $100,000. 5 months later, on April 22nd, 2017, Jones published a new video in Infowars titled, Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed. The store then made $90,000 in that day. Well, now we know why it's not his final statement and why he kept pushing and pushing the hoax, even though, of course, the videos that he was putting out were putting actual victims in danger. 57-year-old Lucy Richards, that same month, was sentenced to 5 months in prison for threatening Leonard Posner, who lost his 6-year-old son, Noah, in Sandy Hook shooting. In a June 2017 segment for NBC's Sunday Night with Megyn Kelly, which, again, was a freaking terrible idea, why hire Megyn Kelly? I have no idea. But Neil Heslin, who was another Sandy Hook parent, described holding his 6-year-old son's body. I lost my son, I buried my son, I held my son with a bullet hole through his head. Heslin told Kelly in the segment about the harassment he has faced from conspiracy theorists. The following month, on July 20th, Jones questioned whether Heslin did indeed hold his dead son in a segment casting doubt on the shooting. Quite frankly, the father needs to clarify. NBC needs to clarify because the coroner said none of the parents were allowed to touch the kids or see the kids, maybe meaning at the school. I'm sure later, maybe the parents saw their children. I can't do that voice forever. The Infowars store on that day sold more than 4,600 products, earning more than $180,000. And there's more. There is more. Of the more than 3 years of data reviewed by HuffPost, Infowars' most profitable days happened around the 2016 presidential election. That's actually not a surprise. The day of the election, November 8th, the Infowars store more than doubled its sales from the previous day, making a total of over $660,000. The next day after Trump won, more than 8,700 orders were placed on the Infowars website, totaling nearly $850,000 in sales. Good for him. I mean, that was a day of elation for the right wing in 2016. And so now, forward to 2020, Jones was a leading proponent of course, the big lie that the 2020 presidential election was rigged, which of course led to the January 6th Capitol riot. Jones, who is now being subpoenaed by a House committee over his role in that attack, had urged his followers just days before the riot to purchase items from the Infowars store to, in his words, help fund the Second American Revolution worldwide. So he ain't broke. He ain't broke at all. And I mean, look, these are some of the worst people in the world. And again, Alex Jones and other conspiracy theorists who make money off lying, I mean, they're, what else can I say? They're terrible people. They put out outrageous lies. I mean, complete and utter falsehoods, dangerous conspiracy theories, which lead to people being hurt, whether by taking bullshit supplements or cures, not getting vaccinated for COVID and making sure that their viewers don't, or by basically sicking his followers on people who don't agree with them. But they don't care. They don't care because you know why? Because whipping up their audience makes some money. And they are willing to pay, these people, the audience, the people who watch him, are willing to pay to hear their own version of insane reality. Look, again, there's so much grifting on the right wing. And maybe it's because, I don't know, they're just super easy to trick. I don't know what it is. I mean, but you have people that have money on the right that are willing to give it to Donald Trump, for one, which already is incredibly stupid. And then, of course, to people like Alex Jones. To hear these insane conspiracy theories, like January 6th, where the people who, by the way, Capitol rioters, they weren't poor people. They weren't members of the working class. They weren't out there like, oh my God, I don't have stimulus checks or food or places to stay, and that's why I'm out here rioting. No, no, no. They were out there because I want my country back. They bought into conspiracy theories and hate brown people. And that's essentially it. They had money and they were willing to give it to anybody who made them feel good about having awful, racist views. And where there are people, of course, willing to give to feel good about themselves, that there are always those who are willing to say whatever those people want to hear in order to separate them from their cash. Here is probably one of the clearest examples of how online conspiracy theories and capitalism, yes, capitalism, absolutely go hand in hand.